Joining us now, Ed Gillespie, man who wants to be the next senator in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Ed, good to have you here at CPAC. How have you found your CPAC experience so far?
It's been great. It's good to see a lot of old friends and enjoyed the panel discussion. Very important topic, talking about how Republicans can do better with non-traditionally Republican voters, and that's a major focus of my campaign as well.
All right, so, let's get right down to brass tacks. In the Commonwealth, Republicans didn't do so well in the last election cycle.
Right.
So how are you going to change that?
Well, I think a number of things. First of all, Virginia is a purple state, and pendulums swing, and I think we're looking at a pendulum swing. And what will help that pendulum swing, obviously, is when Virginians learn more about Senator Mark Warner's voting record in the United States Senate, which is very much at odds with what a lot of Virginians think and what he would have us believe. Senator Warner wants us to believe that he's an independent voice in the United States Senate, when in fact he has voted 97% of the time with President Obama and Harry Reid since being elected. And I can't find the 3% he didn't, by the way. It's down the line on everything with the president and Harry Reid.
Well, and to pull on that thread a little bit more, I was shocked, truly shocked, on Wednesday to find out that the moderate Mark Warner of Virginia voted to confirm this nominee to the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, this man who defended this cop killer in Philadelphia, where 7 other Democrats found it okay to cross the aisle and vote against him. Were you surprised that the moderate Mark Warner decided to confirm Obama's choice for this position?
I really wasn't. He doesn't ever really buck his party's leadership, and so he would have us believe that he is, like Joe Manchin across the border in West Virginia.
Who, by the way, did vote against
Obama's
Obama's
exactly.
nominee.
That's my point, but he's really, he votes like Chuck Schumer, and so I was not surprised at all, because it's consistent with voting 97% of the time with the president.
All right, now, we've had this thing that's happened in Virginia politics now 2 times, where somebody comes in and runs as an independent and sort of pulls away just enough votes to really screw things up for Republicans. Do you fear that might happen in your race? And if so, what would you say about it?
Well, I don't know if there's going to be a third-party candidate who's qualified to get on the ballot. I've heard, rumors that that's the case. But look, I'm going to run this race on holding Mark Warner accountable for his record and what I'm for, and the fact that we don't have to accept the notion that this lousy economy is the new normal. It's not. It's the old mediocre, and we can do better with better policies. And I believe when I hold Mark Warner accountable, if I'm the nominee for the Republican Party, which I hope to be, and hold him accountable for his record and offer a positive alternative vision of the future of the country and policies, that we're going to win regardless of how many people are on the ballot in November.
Well, let's talk about Obamacare. You becoming a Republican senator would be a big part of moving the leadership, the majority, over to the Republican Party. And Mark Warner, of course, he was the 60th vote to pass Obamacare.
Yes,
we would not have Obamacare right now if it weren't for Mark Warner.
Correct.
What's your agenda with regard to health care when you get to the Senate?
Well, we need to repeal this bill and replace it. And, this is one of the areas where there's a very pronounced difference between me and Mark Warner. Mark Warner told us when this bill was going through the House and the Senate that it was going to lower our premiums and that he would never vote for a bill that meant we could lose our insurance if we wanted to keep it. He turned around and did exactly that. Not only did he vote for it, by the way, he whipped votes for it. He helped round up his fellow freshman Democrats to help break that filibuster and help pass that bill. While he was doing that, I was on a lot of different television shows saying this bill is going to be, I said it would be a monstrosity on one show, or it is a monstrosity, and it's going to drive up our health care costs. It's going to limit our choices. It's going to kill jobs. And on really the most important issue in this campaign, I was right and he was disastrously wrong, but more important, he's wrong about what to do about it. He believes that the problem with Obamacare is a flawed website rollout. The problem with Obamacare is the legislation itself, and it needs to be repealed and replaced with policies that work and that will hold down health insurance premiums, that will make health care more accessible and more affordable for Americans, and won't destroy jobs and cut our hours back for people working hourly wages from 40 hours a week to 28 hours a week.
People who normally would work, but they choose not to because they don't want to lose
Or they're disincentivized from working. Exactly.
All right, so now, look, you got to have money to run. I would imagine that the former chairman of the RNC is not going to have any trouble in that regard. How's that going?
Your suit looks nice.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
It's a little old, but it wears well. But I am raising a lot of money from a lot of supporters all around the Commonwealth and all around the country, as he has done. He has a pretty big war chest, and I need to offset that, and I have the opportunity to do that as a former Republican National Committee chairman, as a former chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, and I will have the resources necessary to make sure that voters in Virginia are informed in November about his record and a positive alternative.
One last quick question. I always think this is revealing for someone who wants to be a senator. What committee, if you could pick one committee, what would you be on?
Yeah.
Well, I'm obviously intrigued and fine with what's going on with the defense budget right now. The Armed Services Committee would be a very important committee for a senator from Virginia.
You hear that, Hampton Roads?
And
there we go.
beyond that, I would have to look at some other ones. But I'm very fearful, given the defense budget that's coming out. I mean, they are basically slashing our Navy to pay for Obamacare, and that's not good policy.
That's a great way to put it.
Ed Gillespie, always a pleasure. Please come
Great
back.
to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.